got with me Mark Butcher, former England number 3 batsman, and in fact a tremendous batsman to watch in his heydays. Mark, how are you doing?
Very well, thanks, Alex. Very well, yeah.
Mark, Ashes win, T20 World Cup win in England's pocket. How do you reckon England's chances in the forthcoming World Cup in the subcontinent?
I think we stand a better chance than we have done for some years. It will still be very difficult because subcontinent conditions traditionally have been very tough on English teams. But I think when you look at this side, they've got a real good balance. They've got some terrific hitters. They've got some really clever batsmen in the middle order in terms of manipulating the slower bowlers. They've got Graham Swan, who's the world's best spin bowler at the moment, rated that way, and other utility bowlers that are also very handy. And they're full of confidence. That's the main thing. Very, very confident team, well managed, well led. So I think that a semi-final berth isn't out of the question.
But having said that, how do you really put the problems to address? England do not start off traditionally well in the first 15 overs, and then towards the end they just lose heaps of wickets, and in the end the match is almost lost.
Well, yeah, they do have had that problem, but I don't think you become the 2020 champions without having guys who can go out and hit the ball in the first 15 overs. I think England have addressed that problem and are looking to, obviously there's still 7 matches of the one-day series in Australia to go before the World Cup, and England will have a very good idea by the end of that as to what their best combinations are going to be.
For you, who is the man to really pick for in terms of a player who can influence the fortunes of England's side?
Owen Morgan, I think, is going to be a massive player for England in this World Cup. Also the captain, Andrew Strauss. I think if he scores runs and leads the team well, gets the team off to good starts, you've seen the way that the team follows him, I think he'll be a key player. And then also I go down to the spin bowlers of Swan and Yardy. If they can work well in combinations over there in the subcontinent, England will play well.
Do you think utilising power plays will be an important factor in deciding the outcome of a match in the one days? Because traditionally power plays are usually taken towards the end.
Yeah.
But during the 25th to 35th over, there's usually no power plays taken.
Yeah, it's a funny one. Power plays are a strange thing for me. I don't really like them simply because if the 50-over game was a good format, was a very, very good format, then you wouldn't need to keep making these little changes supposedly to make the game more exciting. Having said that, they're here and they're here to stay. So, the teams are still more inclined to use them at the back end of an innings, say from the 41st over to about the 46th or the 47th. And you might be right, we might see some teams trying to be a bit more innovative, perhaps taking them early, go through the first 15 overs and then take another one if they're on a roll. Funny thing is, with the power plays, you see teams lose games more during the power play than win them, don't you? The team will take a power play, they're going along beautifully, they take the power play, suddenly the fielding side takes 2 or 3 wickets and the game changes. So I think it will have a massive effect, and I think we'll see a lot of mistakes made with it more than it being used well.
Your picks for the 4 semi-final spots?
Wow. India. I'm going to go with England. India, England, Sri Lanka, and that's tough. Why do you have to ask me that? India, England, Sri Lanka, and South Africa.
How about Australia?
No.
Strange. 173 you made at Headingley. What an innings that was. Positive footwork, a lot of on drives on exhibition really, and do you think you ever really batted better than that particular innings at Headingley?
Probably not. If you look at the bowling attack that I was playing against and the position of the game, I think that there were times in my career where I was in as good a form as that, but that was without any question the standout innings.
Do you think managing a particular player really comes to the fore, because you have had quite a good career, but 73 test matches and good Ashes record as well. Do you think managing a player really plays the role, key role?
I think it can do. I think I was quite lucky. In the very early part of my career, the first 25 test matches, I didn't really do much. I played played a lot of Test cricket, only made 200s in that time, and struggled really. But I got left out for, say, probably about 12 months. But when I came back, I already had the experience of having played quite a bit of Test matches. And then when I came back for the second time, I was a little older and a little wiser. England had essential contracts there, and so players got a chance to play more regularly. You weren't always worried about being dropped from the side, and it definitely plays a part. And I think what we're seeing with England's gathering success at the moment is that they have a group of players that are all very confident in themselves, and also confident in the fact that they're going to be in the team for a long time, and so they're able to play with a bit more freedom.
What do you reckon about a particular player called Virendra Sehwag? 54 in Test match cricket, he averages 20s, 300s. Has he really achieved his place in Test history as a great batsman?
Oh, I think so. Yeah. I mean, he's a very modern player, isn't he? And he's an opening batsman, but that doesn't really move his feet particularly. He sees the ball and hits it. He's fantastic to watch. If he bats for 2 sessions, he's probably going to have 150 on the board. It's real exciting modern day opening batting, and I think anybody would pay money to go and watch him. So certainly he's one of the greats. Yeah.
Nowadays, players, if they have a technical flaw, usually hear from former players and get to know their opinions from quite a lot of people. Do you think that they somehow find it difficult to sort it out themselves? Is it a problem? Do you see that trend growing up as the days progress?
As 2020 cricket becomes more popular, I think we'll see a lot of players with differing techniques perhaps that won't be seen in the coaching manual. Not sort of thing that you'd see Sachin playing, for example. Sachin is still the best batsman in the world. Still believes in cricket. He plays very, very side on, very, very straight bat, high elbow. All of these things have been passed down through the ages in terms of batting techniques. And 2020 cricket is changing that. And it'll be very interesting to see if in the next 10 years what our professional batsmen look like, having grown up with a lot more 2020 cricket. There's certainly, for me, there's certainly a gathering trend towards people whose techniques perhaps don't always stand up when the ball is moving around in Test match cricket, and it's something that the coaches have to be very, very careful of and keep a close eye on.
Who would you rate is the best captain, having played under various captains who really managed well and who had an eye for pepping you up at the right time?
I think the best captain I played under was Adam Hoyer, who was my captain at Surrey. He also captained England in one-day cricket for a short period of time. I think he was a terrific motivator, and he knew people very well. He understood what made people tick, and that's a real art. I think you have to be willing to listen as well as to be strong and lead from the front. You also have to kind of listen and take notice of what people are doing around you.
Let's talk about another left-hander, Alastair Cook, prolific form over 700 runs. Do you see that as a major turning point in his career?
But I think if it isn't, then there's something very wrong. In terms of his technique and his confidence was shot to pieces really over in England in the summer preceding the Ashes tour, and so it was a surprise to many people that he was able to play as well as he did. But one thing that Alastair Cook has always had, very, very mentally strong, great powers of concentration. So even when he's not playing so well, he still manages to chisel out scores. I think what you've seen is on this trip is a man whose confidence returned, who managed to iron out some tiny little technical things, and when his confidence was good and the technique was good, he's got the confidence to bat all day, and that's what he did. He punished Australia, and they had no answer.
Thank you very much, Mark. It was a privilege to talk to you.
Cheers, Amit. Thank you, sir.